Alright, so in this video, I'll be showing you guys how to use experimental features from Xamarin. So some examples of this include the gradient brushes to allow gradients inside your applications, and shapes.experimental, which allows you to use vector art and shapes inside your application. Generally, these are pretty okay to use. It's not like they're super buggy. I found some problems with them. I mean, that's why they are experimental, but still they're okay. And generally, it's a good idea to use these to enhance the looks of your application. So, okay, so I have here a linear gradient brush, which is something that we need experimental features for, the brush.experimental feature. So before you use experimental features, you need to opt in, because by default these are not enabled in your applications. There are two ways to opt in through your Android and iOS project. You opt in through app delegate and main activity respectively. But there's an easier way, which is simply opting in through your app class. Before we do that though, I just want to point out that if you guys do not have content page.background or linear gradient brush, if there's an error here, that is likely because you have an older version of Xamarin. So what I would ask you to do is go to your solution, manage new jet packages for solution, and update Xamarin. It'll be listed under updates here, and Xamarin.Forms should be here, and you can update it simply by clicking update. For example, with Xamarin Essentials, I would just go here and click install with latest stable, and that should fix the problem. It's generally a pretty common problem for me, but it's an easy fix. So let's get started. We go to our app.saml.cs class, and this is the method that we use to opt in for an experimental feature. We write device dot set flags, and this set flags method will not come up in IntelliSense. And if we finish the method like that, we're actually going to get an error. But there's nothing wrong with it, we're just not finished yet. Inside the brackets, we're going to write new string array curly brackets. That's literally it. As you see, the error is now gone away and this is highlighted. So inside here, we put the strings that are our experimental flags. Now these need to be the exact strings to actually opt in. So I will be linking the official documentation, which contains all the strings used for opting in for certain experimental features. For now, the experimental feature that we need is brush underscore experimental, or the experimental flag. I have not set it right now, so I have not opted in to the brush experimental, and look what happens when I run it. It will in fact cause an error, but it will also show us the experimental flag we need to use this feature. As you see, we have an error here, and it says that you must opt in by calling brush underscore experimental. So over here, we go back to here, and in our string array, we insert this brush underscore experimental. And if we run again, it should work. By the way, don't mind this stuff up here. That's from an earlier video on how to make custom font, and it's completely irrelevant. As you see, now the gradient works. Now, to use multiple experimental features, like say you wanted to use vector art as well as gradients, you do not do this. I have made the mistake of doing this once before. Just doing that. This will not work at all. What's going to happen is the bottom one is going to be the only flag that's going to be set, and this one is not going to be set at all. And that's the reason that this is a string array and not just a string. We just add a comma here, and then opt into shapes.experimental. And depending on how many features you want to opt into, you just add to the string array. make sure you don't write another one of these, or it's going to cause problems. One final note before we leave. Do make sure to update your Xamarin.Forms project, because I found that was actually the reason for many problems I was having with linear gradient brush not being recognized and there not being content page.background. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I will see you guys next time.